So you know Sir Isaac Newton of falling apple fame? Well, I bet you didn't know that he allegedly lost the equivalent of 40 million pounds in today's currency during what's been called the world's first financial crash and the world's first Ponzi scheme. It was the South Sea bubble of 1720 when the stocks of the South Sea Company in Britain dropped 80% from their height. Even Newton himself couldn't explain the mania or the hysteria that had overcome the populace to drive the groupthink that made too many people buy a stock worth only about 200 pounds for 1,000 pounds, 5 times its value. As we read in one account, quote, perhaps Newton should have remembered his apple.
What would that be in American money? Because I mean, we're not pounds. I don't know.
A lot. And this might sound too far-fetched, but consider these other financial fads that were overhyped and under-delivered.
Yeah, you might think of these as what they call pyramid schemes.
Well, that's one example.
Right?
Is pyramid scheme. Yeah.
So there's the guy called Charles Ponzi. Ever heard of a Ponzi scheme? It actually came from a person called, his name is Charles, apparently.
Thanks, Chuck.
Yeah, to, I don't know those Chucks, to Bernie Madoff. People remember that. If you don't know, there's a whole Netflix series on him. And there's these schemes that promise high returns, but ultimately collapse.
Yeah, these happen all the time. We just saw in the news, one happened like somebody got arrested for a Ponzi scheme this past week of millions of dollars.
No, yeah, more than million. It was a lot.
It was a lot.
It's huge.
Yeah. So there's also a bunch of other fads. We're going to go through these really quickly. Beanie Baby collectibles in the 1990s. TY Incorporated stuffed toys were seen as a valuable investment before that bubble burst. There was a day trading boom in the late 1990s.
Isn't there one now? I don't know.
Maybe.
Who knows?
But there was a rise in the late 90s of online brokerage that led many people to believe they could make easy money day trading stocks. Then there was a dot-com bubble in the late 90s, early 2000s, where all this excessive speculation in internet-related companies led to a significant market crash. Then, of course, we had the house flip craze of the mid-2000s. This trend of quickly buying, renovating, and selling houses for profit contributed to the 2008 housing crisis. In addition to that, you had subprime mortgages that, this widespread issuance of high-risk mortgages contributed significantly to that same crisis. And then more recently, there was a Bitcoin mining rush in the 2017 to 2018. And as Bitcoin prices surged, many invested heavily in mining equipment, only to see their profitability plummet. Then we had this ICO initial coin offering craze in the same time period, 2017, 2018, where many startups raised millions through these ICOs, but a large percentage failed to deliver on their promises. We could go on and on and on, but actually we need to welcome you.
In a world where chaos seems to reign supreme, where uncertainty lurks around every corner, and financial markets are now more unpredictable than ever, there's one place you can turn to find clarity and control. Welcome to the Wealth Wisdom Financial Podcast.
Hey, I'm Brandon.
And I'm Amanda.
Join us as we dive deep in the world of personal and business finance
to assist you in navigating through the chaos and building the financial future you deserve.
We believe when conventional financial thinking doesn't get you where you want to go,
you need wealth wisdom.
So if you're ready to take control of your financial destiny,
tune in to the Wealth Wisdom Financial Podcast.
Because in a chaotic world, your money shouldn't be.
Subscribe now and never miss an episode.
So as we've been doing financial analysis for people, for a while now, we have seen this resurgence of these kind of schemes. I'm seeing it all over, from, again, the person who's maybe flipping a house to, I don't know, who's that crazy cat guy that did the
Roaring Kitty.
Yeah, GameStop. There's all kinds of things. I've seen people lose a lot, not really make a lot, but they are just trying to find a cheat code, I guess, or something.
So we have a whole bunch of ideas to share with you today to help you avoid these fads But a little recap of where we're at. We've been doing a series this month that's very practical. We talked about fees and the very practical nature of fees and how they wreak havoc on our investments and our financial portfolios. And then we talked about the difference between don't sweat the small stuff and the latte factor, where it's all about the small stuff and helping you find your mix of enjoy life now and make sure you're able to enjoy life later. And then just our last episode, we talked a lot about behavioral economics and how very practically we have ways we think and do money that get exploited by people. So this is kind of a nice follow-up. A lot of the reason fads work is because they're preying on some of that human psychology that we talked about in the last episode. Highly recommend going back to checking that out. But now let's jump into decision making. It's really when we're faced with a choice, a fad that we might be part of, we have to decide whether we're going to participate or not. So what kind of decision maker are you?
Yeah.
Do you need to analyze every detail? Are you someone who goes more with your own gut? If you can't see on the podcast, I just pointed to me as the analyze and Brandon as the go with his gut kind of person. We lean that way, kind of how we balance each other out. There's also a lot of people who just follow the crowd, or maybe you go your own way.
I mean, I think there's a lot more people that just follow the crowd, or even then, we'll listen to, and I hate saying his name, we'll just follow Dave Ramsey, and apparently he knows. But I've even heard him being caught in certain schemes that he educated people on, and then all of a sudden they're part of a scheme where it was I think it was I don't remember what it was. There was something.
Basically, we can all be susceptible to financial fads, but we can also miss out on really good deals because we're being too picky.
Yep.
So let's get to it. So we started this episode with a whole bunch of financial fads that turned out to be mostly hype with little substance and mostly downright harmful to people's wallets.
Yep.
So, and if you think that you're immune from those fads, consider that world we live in today, where even financial gurus get swept up in fads. Financial advice is just a tap away. It makes it easier and easier to fall into the trap of financial fads that promise quick riches and effortless wealth, but also often leave a trail of battered bank accounts and shattered dreams in their wake. So we got some practical tips to clear of those harmful financial fads. And we're going to talk about isn't a financial fad that some people think it is and why it's not. So that's kind of the overview of today. Let's start with the first practical tip. Brandon, why don't you go with that one?
So the first practical tip is to do your own research. Always verify claims independently using reputable sources. I mean, I think about this as we create content. There's a lot of things that are said negatively about what we do. However, I mean, I just heard about this today. Even in, what was it, Golden Girls, they mentioned using life insurance to buy a house, right? In their cash value.
Pay a big bill.
Yeah. So don't just rely solely on social media or influencers or investing apps or sales pitches for financial advice.
Number 2 is understand the fundamentals. Learn basic financial principles and concepts. Most people won't ever understand all that's going on inside their car's computer, for example, but they do know the basics, like keep your car fueled, change your oil regularly, complete other routine maintenance. Also, don't drive like a daredevil. Similarly, with financial tools, you might not be able to explain everything, but at a minimum, we believe you should know the basics and how to make sure you're using it to get you where you want to go.
Yeah, I think on some of this is, as I'm doing the analysis, I want to educate people on what we do with the infinite banking yourself system. I want them to know, maybe I'm the expert in this, but I want them to know how the vehicle works, right? How to use it and educate them in that regard. And if you're just finding somebody who's telling you, "I'll just do this, don't worry about it," that could be a problem. That could be a red flag.
Okay, let's do 3 quickly.
Yeah, number 3 is
pun intended.
Be wary of get rich quick promises. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Like, really, it's the micro adjustments and doing the little things, not just, hey, I can do this and make it really fast. Sustainable wealth building takes time
and effort.
Yep.
Okay, number 4, check credentials and track records. Look into the background of financial advisors and companies that are promoting different investments or different strategies. Be skeptical of those with a history of failures or legal issues. Part of why Bernie Madoff got away with what he did for so long was that no one checked his credentials. And guess what? He had none. They wouldn't have found anything.
Same with financial edutainers, is they may not have credentials, so they can get away with things because they can say anything.
Yep. Number 5.
This one is an interesting one. It's diversify your investments. Now, what we are saying is don't put all your eggs in one basket, especially not in a trendy new investment that is, that you found on TikTok or something, right? A well-diversified portfolio can help protect against fads and bubbles.
Can I give the example here?
Yeah.
So for example, the 401k is too young to retire. What? Right? And yet too many retirees have too much, sometimes even 100% of their nest egg in a 401k. Beware, right? Like, let's diversify. Let's look into alternatives. Okay. Number 6, be cautious of high pressure sales tactics. If someone is pushing you to invest immediately, it's often a red flag. Take your time, make informed decisions. That doesn't mean don't work with a good salesperson. Just because they're good at sales doesn't mean you shouldn't work with them. And like, not all sales techniques are a red flag, but high pressure is a red flag. But like asking you to make a decision isn't, right? Like, be clear there. Not all sales is bad. Sometimes sales is to help you make decisions in your best interest, not just sell you something that's not in your best interest, right?
Yeah,
be discerning there.
I want to add something here is, as I'm thinking about this, is we are in a sales role, right? We want to help people, but oftentimes they might freeze or they see us as not necessarily pushy, but trying to help them make the decision. But it's up to you. If somebody's trying to push you to say, hey, if you don't do this now, your life is going to be over. That's a problem. So yeah, we want to make sure we're doing it right.
A good tie into number 7.
Consider the source motivation. So what do you want to say there?
Yeah. Ask yourself who benefits from you following their advice or doing the thing they're trying to sell you. Be careful with free information that might be actually selling your attention to sponsors. While it's not foolproof, it's always a good idea to look at what the person or company giving you the advice is doing with their own money, not just what they're asking you to do with yours.
I think that's, again, going back to some of us and what we do. Really, we created videos, and you can go back in the resources here, but we've created videos sharing what we do with our own money. By the way, don't forget to like and subscribe. I always forget that. Leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you.
Okay, number 8, stay informed about common scams. Educate yourself about typical financial scams, how they operate. There's some really great resources out there. Even the SEC has investor.gov. That can be super helpful. I'm going to do 9 and really quickly, and then we're going to come back with 10, 11, 12 also quickly. Number 9 is seek second opinions. Consult with a trusted financial advisors or a knowledgeable friend before making big decisions. In our role as fiduciaries, we love being a trusted opinion to help you weigh the pros and cons as unbiased as we can. We're going to let you know how you can get that trusted opinion right now.
Ready to take the next step towards securing your financial future? Whether you're planning for retirement, saving for your dream home, or you just want to make your money work harder for you, the team at Wealth Wisdom Financial are ready to assist you. And now, it's easier than ever to see how we might give you a boost on your financial journey.
Schedule a 15-minute discovery call with one of us today.
And let's discuss your questions and your financial goals together.
Don't wait any longer. Your financial freedom awaits. Schedule your discovery call at www.wealthwisdomfp.com/call.
Really quickly, because I have something really important we need to get to. Number 10 is be patient, stick to your plan. Develop a long-term financial plan, stick to it. Avoid making impulsive decisions based on market trends or FOMO, fear of missing out. Number 11 is one of my favorites. Use the sleep on it rule for any major financial decision. Give yourself at least a day to think it over. We do this anytime we're hiring somebody, we sleep on it before we ever hire them. It's helped us a lot. And then number 12, trust your instincts to a point. If something feels off, even if you can't pinpoint why, it's okay to walk away. First, consider if your fear is pointed in the right direction. It's natural to fear change. Going back to human psychology. Even if you're changing for the better, fear can bring up its ugly head and try to not get you to change, because change is scary. Just because your gut tells you something doesn't mean you're understanding your gut correctly.
Yeah, I've had that before. Yeah, oh my gosh.
Yeah, remember, building wealth is typically a marathon, not a sprint. Sustainable financial strategies often aren't exciting, but they're more likely to lead to long-term success. Okay, now we get to share with you. A lot of people think banking yourself is a scam. It's a fad. It's this new thing on the horizon, but we've got 4 reasons why it's not a scam. Brandon, why don't you talk about all 4?
All right, so 4 reasons as to why banking yourself isn't a scam. So 1 is longevity. The banking yourself brand has been around for several decades, which suggests it's not a short-lived fad. However, it has been around, like the concept, for, I don't know, 200 plus years, right?
160 plus,
160, yeah, it's been a long time. However, longevity alone doesn't guarantee sustainability, right? So just because it's a long thing, we want to make sure it's sustainable. So the other part is the underlying product, Bank on Yourself, is based on, again, whole life insurance, a financial product that has existed for over a century. That gives it more credibility than newer, untested financial products, or things like, again, the 401k. How long has that been around? The other thing is promised returns. Banking yourself and infinite banking type strategies doesn't promise unrealistic returns, which is a positive sign. It focuses on guaranteed growth and tax advantages, which are more sustainable claims. Again, if you go in and you're looking for the big fad, the quick thing, maybe that's a Ponzi scheme. The 4th one, of course, I don't know if I'd say of course, but really it should be, it's transparency. The strategy is relatively transparent about how it works, which is a good sign.
And speaking of transparency, maybe like a 5th thing to make sure you're not working with a fad like indexed universal life, which how long has that been around? Since the mid 1980s, right? Like not as long as whole life has been. And to make sure you're getting the right type of infinite banking or banking yourself strategy, we talked about doing your own research, like all these ways you can protect yourself. With infinite banking, you go to their website, you can search to find out if the person you're working with is a certified infinite banking practitioner. You can see them on the website. If you can't find them on the website, they're not certified. And then with Bank on Yourself, they don't have a listing or directory yet, but you can go to bankonyourself.com. You can reach out to them there, through contact us, email, phone, and say, I'm working with so-and-so. Are they a Bank on Yourself professional? And get that confirmation. Do your research. Make sure you're working with people who are trained and legitimately know how to set these things up. They've been doing it for a while. It's not just the concept or the idea that needs to be tested, but also the person. Because like if you're getting a house built, building houses, people have been doing that for millennia, right? Yep. But if you don't work with a good architect, you could end up with a house that is in shambles. Yep. So
again, honestly, I see people using both of these books all the time, and they're not in the program. They are using Nelson Nash's words. However, they're doing things that he might turn over in his grave about, right?
Yeah.
And again, he's passed away, but really finding people who are,
trained, they have accountability.
Yeah. There's a lot of TikTok things and all kinds of crazy stuff I see right now lately.
Yeah. So we must conclude with sharing what is a fad fiction for one person might be a sustainable financial strategy for another, and vice versa. Even with Banking Yourself and Infinite Banking, no single financial strategy is perfect for everyone. What matters most is how well it aligns with your specific financial situation and goals. Consider how any financial tool you're thinking about using fits into your overall financial plan. And if you don't have an overall financial plan, we'd love to help you with that too.
Yeah, that's something I think that we really jive with, and that's why you are a certified financial planner. Another reason to have that designation. So anyway, thanks for joining us. Don't forget, hit that subscribe button and live long and profit.
And we went through those like 12 things to double check if you are getting in a fad or if it's something that's more sustainable. If we went really fast, if you want a checklist that you can download, keep, join us in the Wealth Wisdom Financial community, and we'd love to give you that for free. The topics presented in this podcast are for general information only and not for the purposes of providing legal, accounting, or investment advice on such matters. Please consult a professional who knows your specific situation.
And who has the credentials to go with it.
Love it.